Ruscar de Pasolini.
Hegel, and of course Marx, but also Rousseau were very influential in Michel Cluscard's thought. So Hegel, Marx, and Rousseau influenced Cluscard. What is your opinion about Rousseau and his influence in Marxist thought? So Marx, Hegel is kind of clear to me, but maybe Rousseau is a little bit...
Yes. The influence made by Rousseau is really important for all the thinkers after Rousseau, also Kant, also Fichte, and so on. I would say that the most important point that Marx takes from Rousseau is the following one. According to Rousseau, the humanity has the responsibility for its own alienation. And so humanity could also be responsible of its own redemption. This is very important according to Rousseau's theory. If we read Rousseau's social contract, Le Contrat Social, we know that the bad situation in that rules in the modernity has, so to say, an historical starting point. It's not eternal, it's not something that God decided. It depends on us, so we can also change the situation. There is much of this in Hegel's theory of alienation and Entfremdung, and there is of course much of this also in Marx's theory about the possibility for the humanity to set itself free. When we read the last thesis on Feuerbach, the important is to change the world, we see like an echo of Rousseau's theory. This is very important. Rousseau was completely aware of the fact that the true problem is the social one. Today we would say the social rights, the social injustice of the capitalistic world, of the mode of capitalistic production. This is very important today, because today we just speak about individual rights of the consumers. We think that the freedom means the possibility for the individual consumer to buy everything without limitation, to take pleasure with no limits. The new global lifestyle is this. But we have completely forgotten the social dimension of freedom. Freedom is not a property of a single consumerist. Freedom means a relation, a free relation between individuals that are free and, so to say, with no class distinction. For instance, Hegel says that in the Oriental world, where just one person is free, nobody is free, because there are not free relations. Today we think, since 68, that the freedom means the possibility for the individual person to do what he wants, with no limits, with no rules. So to say, it's like a kind of deregulation of our lifestyle. This is important because after Rousseau, after Hegel, who says that this kind of freedom is the worst, and after Marx, especially Cluscard in France and Pasolini in Italy underlined this point. And they have well understood that the 68 was the turning point of a new capitalism. The old capitalism based on bourgeoisie, on the ethical life, religion, family, the father, the police, the imperialism, the right imperialism, and so on, was going away. Not because the communistic world was ready to become, but just because a new form of capitalism was becoming true. The postmodern capitalism, the new left capitalism, the capitalism with no limits, the capitalism that comes after the death of bourgeoisie. Pasolini and Cluscard, and of course they were both communist, they were both against capitalism, they were not right-oriented. They understood that 68 in France, like in Italy, was a turning point for the new capitalism. The real enemy of the 68 was not the capitalism, but the bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie was a class that was the ruling class in capitalism, but was also a class with many values that was not able to stay anymore with capitalism. Bourgeoisie has its own religion, the idea of the limit, the idea of the state, and so on. A really perfect capitalism is the one where everything becomes commodity. So they could not exist anymore religion, idea of the limit, national state, and so it could not exist anymore the bourgeoisie. So the 68 was the year, or maybe the years, because they were more than 1 years, where we had not an emancipation from capitalism, but an emancipation of capitalism. Capitalism emancipated itself from the bourgeoisie. We didn't have the communism. We had the new, stronger capitalism. And so was what Pasolini and Cluscard underlined in France and in Italy. From 68 we have now the total capitalistic society. That is a gauchiste society, new left society. You can do whatever you want if you have the money to pay, like individual. The enemy for the neoliberalistic elite and for the rainbow left is always the idea of limit. National state, idea of the family, religion, control of the market, and so on. So they have the same aim, the same purpose. The absence of limit. You can do whatever you want if you have the money to pay. This is the particular connection between the deregulation of the right and the anarchy of the left. They are two different faces of the same money, of the same coin. So Pasolini and Kluskart understood this. Pasolini says exactly that the new capitalistic world was transforming us in consumers, homines consumentes. This was the point. This was the point, and this is why today we should also start again from Pasolini and Kluskart. Because today the new capitalistic power is like an eagle with two wings. We have the right liberistic financial wing and the left libertarian anarchist wing. The right wing creates the structures, the left wing creates the superstructures. For instance, right wing wants to destroy the national states because it wants that the world becomes like a free market with no limitations. The left wing, instead of fighting against this, instead of defending the social rights inside the national states, says that the national states are fascist or communist or Stalinist or Hitlerian and so on. So they legitimate from the left what the right wants and does. Another example. The right wing wants to destroy the family because the family is an area of the life where the do ut des, where the utility of the market cannot enter. The relation between a mother and a kid is not a commercial one. It's based on love, it's based on solidarity and so on. But also family, like Aristotle says, is what proves that we humans are communitarian. Everybody of us was born in a community, the family. Capitalistic power wants to put away every kind of solidarity, wants to put away any kind of communitarianism, wants to create what Hegel calls System der Atomistik, system of the atoms, single individuals, atoms that make commercial changes. So they want to destroy the family with gender theory, with the theory that everything is family, so nothing is more family, and so on. The left wing that should be against this and should defend the family, proletariat means prole, the family. Proletariat is what, as a family, and in the family we have the first form of welfare state. So a relation based on altruistic values, not individualistic. But the left wing does the opposite. The left wing says that family is paternalistic, is based on homophobic visions, and so on. They say what is useful for the right. This is the problem, I think, and this is what Pasolini and Cluscard underlined in their times. And this is very important to understand the real movement of the new capitalistic spirit today, what Boltanski and Chiapelot call le nouvel esprit du capitalisme. Come andava?
Benissimo.